All right. After looking for this loops, okay, we have seen the for loop, we have seen for each loop, and we have seen do while loop, do until loop. Hope you have already practiced it. So basically, the advantage of using the loops is whenever you want to repeat any particular task for number of times. How many times we don't know. We know only the end part, right? So end part in the sense, for example, if I want to print 10 numbers, that is what the initial example you have seen just to understand how the loop works. So there it was, I was clearly determined I want to print up from 1 to 10 numbers. In this case, for example, if I want to loop through each line and I want to copy the data, I should be knowing the end date. Okay, end date, or I should be knowing the end row. Rather, in the first previous example, 1 to 10 numbers, I know what is the end number, but here I don't know what is the end number. So we need to even analyze what is the end number, because this data can be increased, can be decreased. Okay, so let's take a proper example here to understand this better. I'm going to use all those learnings from the past few weeks. I learned loops, I learned conditional structures, I learned variables, I used worksheets, I know workbooks, I know all these concepts now. So let's try to put it in a one complete package so that we can start exploring how best we can use all these things. So here in this example, as I was keep saying, writing the code is not at all important. What exactly important is we want to understand the data. What is the requirement from the project manager? What is the requirement from your SME or whoever is asking you to automate this? We need to understand the data. Is the data is going to be same all the time? Is it going to be dynamic in nature? Any columns will be added, any rows will be deleted, any column name change will be there. So we need to all, you need to have a lot of discussion before we actually start writing the code. So here, as per my example is concerned, I have a date column. Second, I have a region. I have a representative who is a customer a sales guy who is selling some items, and this is the cost of it. So if I look at it, today I have almost this many salespersons. So if I want to see how many salespersons I have, you can use a different formulas, but let me put it very simple. I'll just paste it here. I'll go to data and I go for remove duplicate. Simple. I'll just remove the duplicates so that I can get exactly the people who are present today and really done the job. So I have totally almost like we have 90, 95, 94 people, salesperson who work today. Okay, let's assume I'm working in an organization where every day I get 1 day lag. Okay, yesterday whoever worked on the sales, okay, whatever the items they've sold, I'll get the complete Excel file. Based on that, what I need to do is my daily job is to segregate these data separately. That means I have the very first guy, Ajinka. I want to create a sheet for Ajinka here. I want to put only his data, okay, and I want to paste it here. And I want to create a one more sheet. I want to go for the next one, Amit. So I'll go for the Amit in the second sheet. Next, I want to go for Arun. Next, I want to go for Bhaskar. Next, I want to go for Devi. So I really don't know how many names will be there, because based on yesterday, there were 94 people. Today might be only 90 people. Tomorrow might be 100 people. Next day, it could be 200 people. So that the data is dynamic nature. So we are trying to take such example which is in dynamic nature. So basically what I'm intended to do is I want to segregate. Here I'm not consolidating data. Consolidated data is nothing but from the multiple sheets, you want to copy the data and we want to put it in a single sheet. That could be one of the reason also in some cases, like where you want to consolidate all the data and keep it in a one place. There is could be one more reason where you want to segregate all this data into different sheets and send these individual sheets to their email only. For example, Ajinka data I want to send to only Ajinka, not to Amit. So in that case, I should be knowing how to write in a code to send an automatic email based on the name what we have. Today we have Ajinka, tomorrow you may not have. Maybe he's on leave, he's not working tomorrow. So I don't want any sheet for him. So it's a daily file. Let's assume this is a daily file or weekly file, monthly file, quarter file, whatever it may be. So we need to it's not that like we are creating, we have 100 employees in the company, so we are just blindly creating all the 100 sheets forever. No, we want to see only those people who worked for yesterday. Only those people information should be captured in a different sheets. So that is the objective here. Now my objective is very clear what I want. So for that, let's start doing this job manually before I actually write a code. uh, which will not take much time if you understand how I'm doing manually. First, I want to understand how many employees worked yesterday. So for that, I'll be copying this entire data of C column. I'll create a one more sheet here. I'll just name it as a, something like a rep or representative. Okay, I'll paste it in the A column just for fun to see how many people are there, because everything names are duplicated here. So I want to have a clean data with only required people. So I'm removing all the data. I'm just putting only the unique names here. Now I can see there are 94 people, okay, including the header, it is 95. So I have a 94 people who worked yesterday. So that means the job is very easy. Actually, I just need to create 94 sheets for each individual. So let me start doing it. I'll copy the first name because I don't want to copy from here. I want to copy from here because now I have a clear, neat data here. Who are the people I can easily understand, because these people may not exist tomorrow, or you may have end up having more names tomorrow. So what I will do is I'll simply go my old traditional method. I'll go to the filter. I'll paste the name. Okay, I got Ajinka here. Excellent. I'll copy this data. Now I'll create a one more sheet here as a first sheet. Now I want to paste the data here. Okay, I have not copied properly. So let me copy it again, go back and paste it here. And I want to make it very clean. Okay, I just made it. I want to increase font size. I increase it. Okay, this is Ajinka. I want to paste it as Ajinka. Excellent. Within no time, because I'm very good at Excel, I could able to create Ajinka sheet. Excellent. Let me go for the next name. I need to go for the next name is Amit Jain. In Amit Jain, I need to go filter his name. Okay, I got Amit here. Now I'll go for the next sheet. Okay, whenever I'm creating, it is creating somewhere else. I need to arrange this also. It's a manual job altogether. So I'll copy again. I'll go to sheet. I'll paste it here. I'll put copy the name from here. Little using shortcuts to make my life easy. Pasted here. So I created 94 sheets, guys. Try to understand the problem statement here. I created 95 sheets, assuming that I created 95 sheets. I don't have that patience. I don't want to put my hard work. I want to do a smart work here. So somehow I could able to manage to create two sheets. But assuming that there are 94 sheets I've created, immediately my boss my boss said, like, you've done a fantastic job, but you know what? This particular data is incorrect. Can you just remove it? Okay. If I remove this data, that means what? I need to go to Ajinka also, I need to remove the data. I need to go to Amit also, I need to delete the data, because actually there is no Amit data, but in the raw data there is. So that means when he says this data is changed, I cannot go and update wherever the data is changed. Rather, I need to simply copy this data and delete it and paste the new data what is providing. Actually, it is not 27,000 rows, it is 1 lakh rows. So I pasted again 1 lakh rows. Again, I started creating these sheets. Just imagine how much time does it takes. Already I spent 1 day in creating this workbook, and finally my boss says you need to create again because data is incorrect. Just imagine if you have a macro in this place, just click the button. Within a less than a minute, all the sheets will be created with a proper formatting, with the proper names, with the proper data. Immediately, my boss said, can you create? No problem, because only it takes 1 minute now. It's not 1 day anymore. So that's the objective which you are going to achieve now. So for that, the kind of manual steps which you have taken, if you have noticed, have done a simple thing that anybody can do actually. I just noticed how many people are there. To find out it, I went to a new page, I pasted there, I removed the duplicates. Then after that, I found the first name to be Ajinka. Then I went to for a data, I filtered the auto filtered. I went to a new sheet, pasted there. I formatted a little bit header colors and row size and everything I changed. Then I created the sheet name properly. Perfect. This is what is expected by management from me. But however, it is taking almost 1 day to create it. And if my boss says this is not the thing, the data is changed, again, I need to sit overnight because I need to deliver this report tomorrow, which is not an easy job. So what I'm going to do is the kind of manual steps which I've taken, I'm going to keep in my mind the same manual step what I've created now. I'm going to keep in mind, because those manual steps we are going to write in the form of code now. So that means what is the first step? The first step I'm supposed to take is come to the page called data sheet. All right. So let me go to Alt F11. Okay, this is a old data what you've created. So let me delete this. last week session data. I'm removing it. Let me remove this also. Okay, loop through sheets. All right. So let me start at a fresh here again, how to distribute the data. So this is what we are trying to do here. We are trying to distribute the data as per the customer salesperson name and only his data, nothing else. All right. So I'm starting with distribute data. Very simple macro name so that we can easily understand. Now, the very first thing I need is I want to navigate to a sheet called data sheet. Okay, let me see sheets. This is what I learned. Data dot select. Of course, what this does is data. The spelling is wrong, so let me say data. Okay, I have multiple sheets here. Okay, now I'm sitting in somewhere sheet 8 where I'm writing this simple line of code. What will happen is, oh, this is not accepting. Just all right. So we have a sheet name here. So I want to say the macro name sub distribute underscore data. Okay, I want to do it very fast because I don't have time of creating 94 sheets manually. So how to do it fast? So write slowly the code by understanding so that in future any changes so that you can easily catch where exactly the change to be done and what to be updated, if the code to be extended or to be reduced very easily. Yeah. So first I'm using sheets. I'm using data dot select. This is what I know if I want to select a sheet. No problem. Now I'm sitting in a sheet 3. Now let me see if it works. Okay, it is going to the data sheet. Perfect. But what could be the first issue you can raise? Here you said data, and today date is uh, today is 01/09/2021. Okay, he has given the date. Now when I'm running this code, what I've written, it is giving me an error because that kind of sheet is not existing anymore. So assume that this date sheet or data sheet is changing every day. It's not same. So let's try to give a name internal. That is what we learned when you're working with the sheet objects, right? So I'm deleting these two sheets. What I do is simply I'll go to Alt F11. I try to give my own name to this. That is giving a name to it. That is data underscore something called sheet. Anything you can give. It's your wish what name you want to suggest so that you can easily remember. Now this kind of line, this type of code, there's no need to write because this tend to have an issue. If I use the index also, it's an issue, but I want to go with the internal name. So whenever I say internal name, data sheet, which is the name of the sheet internally I've given, physical name can be anything, doesn't matter maybe. I'm least bothered what is the physical name because internally I've given a name called data sheet. So internal name will be a forever. So once I say select or activate, what will you see is even if the sheet name is changed, let's try to change the sheet now back to data or anything for that matter. Now I'm in the sheet 5. When I'm running this, you will be moving to data sheet. Now the data sheet is being changed to today's date. Let's assume they said data underscore something called Saturday, okay, or Sunday, whatever they have changed, but doesn't matter for me because now I know how to handle this error, which can be an error going forward. So now I'm still going to the data Saturday because data Saturday is only a physical name, what the user is intended to use. Daily wise also you can change the file sheet name, but I'm really safe while writing the code because I've given an internal name to my sheet. So after doing that, the very first job, what the second thing you want to do is, let me write the comments also for you. Navigate to the main sheet. Okay, you are navigating to the main sheet. After navigating to the main sheet, you want to copy this entire C column. Okay, how to copy a C column? It's quite easy, right? So we want to copy a column. So for that, I need to say data underscore sheet dot range. You need to say, see, you can also record this for that matter, but I want to write and see what are the issues I'm going to face. So I'm going to say copy. You can also say select first dot select. Then you can also see same line again to copy it. Okay, let's try to understand this again. I'm going to the sheet 5. First, I'm going to the data sheet. I am trying to select the column. Then I'm copying. Why we are doing a 2 steps here? Not required anymore. there is no need to select the data first, then need to copy. We can directly copy it by avoiding one extra line which you're writing, and which we can also improve the performance of your macro. So this is not required. You can directly, I'll repeat, this is selecting the data, this is copying the data. So I don't want to select it directly, I want to copy it. Okay, I copy it C column where we have rep names. That's it. Very, very easy. We just copied the data. Now, after copying the data, what exactly you want to do is you want to keep this entire data into a new sheet, right? So let me create a new sheet. How to create a new sheet now? I think we need to use the object, then its method, right? So let me simply say sheets dot add. That's it. So let me try to work till here, and so that I can avoid all the errors. I'm able to go to the sheet one. I'm able to copy. I'm able to create a new sheet also. But the problem here is whenever I'm creating a new sheet, it is going back. Rather, I want to create the new sheet always here, because let us keep the first sheet at the starting, and whatever the sheets I'm creating for each representative, it should be at the right side, not at the left side. So this is wrong. By default, it is going back. So that means I want to create a sheet which is at the right side. So if you want to create a sheet at the right side, what exactly we have to do is, we have seen how to use after, okay? After colon equals to, then use the sheets dot count. Now what does exactly this mean? This mean I want to create a new sheet, okay, that too after counting all the sheets, and I want to sit at the last. So if I have 100 sheets, whenever I'm creating a new sheet, this newly born created sheet will be 101, not before. So we have after and before. By default is anyway before. Let's see. We have already seen without writing anything itself. Okay, let me comment this. When I'm adding a sheet, it is anyway creating before, that is before the active sheet, before. But you don't want before, rather you want after. So if you want an after, you need to use this an extra extensive parenthesis so that we can make as after. Okay, I used a simply after here. Let me write properly. After colon equals to, then you are saying sheets of sheets count. So that means, try to observe now, it is not going this side, this will come this side. This is what I want. This is how the hierarchy will be. You will have the main page, after that you will have the corresponding rest of the sheets, which looks good actually and easy to identify. When I'm running this, I select a sheet, I copied the data, I created a new sheet. Excellent, I created at the right side. This is what is expected. Now, do we know what is the name to be given to this? Okay, I know. The sheet name should be called as some rep or something, some sales representative. So let me say, whatever the sheet you are sitting in right now, it is called as always an active sheet, right? Active workbook, active sheet, active app on your mobile. So whichever the right now you are sitting or accessing or viewing it, that is called as active sheet, or that is active row. Active cell we have, active sheet we have. Now I'm talking about active sheet dot. Then what you want to do with the active sheet, you want to give a name to it. Let's say representative. Okay, this is the name which I want to give. Now I want to delete this sheet here because I want macro to create it, because I'm running it again. So I went to data sheet, I copied the data, I created a new sheet, I given a name to it. Perfect. Up to here it's fine. Now what next? You want to let me put creating new sheet right side. Okay, that makes sense. Sheet name as rep. All right, that is also makes sense. Now what you want to do, you want to go back to the data sheet again. You There's no need to go back because already you copied it, right? So directly you can paste it here. One thing you need to understand, the way I'm doing manually, that is the code here. So that means when I'm selecting the entire C column, you are not going to paste by selecting the entire column. You can select a one cell to paste the entire data, right? That is what you usually do it. So the same concept I want to apply here. When I go to the rep sheet, I want to select the A1. There I want to paste the data. So let's see if it works. I'll delete this sheet again. I'll go back. After giving a name to it, I want to paste the data. Let me put it caps. Paste the data, or paste the rep column in rep sheet. Okay. So how do I paste it? You need to select the range. If you don't select wherever the selection is there, it will paste there. So you need to be very particular. You need to paste from A1 only. So that's a default one. You can put it a static name here. A1, A1 dot paste special. Yes, of course I can use it. Now I can go back. I want to, why I'm keep checking again and again these lines of course which is already working, because whenever I'm adding a new line, I want to cross check if it is working. If it is working, I will never in my life again, I'll come back to this code and check, because it's perfectly working, because it's been checked again and again. That's how you need to check. Slowly. Don't be in hurry writing 100 lines and checking one line. It's a very bad way of writing. Write one line, see if it is working, then write the second line, see if it is working, then go for the third line. That's what I'm still trying to learn, the way to write. That's how it should be. Now I'm going to the data sheet. I'm copying the data. I'm creating a new sheet, giving a name to it, pasting the data. That's it. I came out. Okay, my project came till here. Now, what is my next objective to be? I want to select the entire data here. I want to go to the data tab. I want to click on a remove duplicates. First thing, I don't know how to write a code for the remove duplicates. So why can't we take the help from someone? Okay, let's take someone's help here. I'll go to the developer tab. I'll go to the recorder macro. I'm just trying to show you the combination. We can also write, but I'm trying to show you the combination. How can you start stealing your own code while recording? So let me say, okay, I'll go to the data. Before that, I need to select the entire column, then go for the data, remove duplicates and say okay. And say okay. That's it. Go to developer and stop the macro. Now, the way I used to do work manually, it is also working, and I did the same thing with the recording macro, nothing new. Now, let me go to Alt F11 and see how beautifully the code is written. You'll see multiple lines, because recorder does a lot of multiple recordings. I've selected here, I've selected here. So here, let's try to understand what it has done as a recording. It is selected the column. Okay, let's remove this. It will write unwanted lines. Then after that, it is selecting the entire range, then removing the duplicates. Let me put it in the next line so that you can see. Remove duplicates. For which column? It is column 1. Does it have any header? Yes, that is what it was saying. So let me copy or steal my own code, what I just uh, learned by using a recorder. I copied this. I went to my original code, I pasted here. So I'm just stealing my own code here. So here the problem is, while recording, as you know, how many records we have, it will just record to till that particular rows only. If I keep this range here, it will be a problem for me tomorrow, because my data can be 27,000 or it could be a 37,000. So let not put that restriction or static information there. So what I can do is simply A colon A, that will work. Simply A colon A, because I am not really sure, it could be 100 or tomorrow it could be at 1 lakh. So I want to keep the entire column E column to A column to remove the duplicates. Let me explain again what it exactly does. It will select the entire range of A column. It will remove the duplicates. So before actually removing the duplicates, I'm trying to tell some more things to duplicate function. What I'm telling, it is a column 1, because it is a column 1, right? If it is a, had it been a column F, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will be 6. But here it says 1, because I'm talking about A column. And it is saying, does it has an header? It is by default yes. If you don't have, it will be a no. So that means that's how I simply created my own code, by taking the help from the recorder. I don't know how to remove the duplicates. No problem. Just go to the recorder and just do the way you do manually, and tell the macro, this is how I do manually, and macro will start helping you. Recorder will start helping you in terms of a code. So let me delete this. Now I want to do it manually again. I want to do it by using F8 key to see if it is working. Copy it. I created a new sheet, given a name, select it, paste it, then remove duplicates. That's it. Fantastic. It's working now. You can see Ajinka is only once, Amit is only once, Devi is only once, Parthiva is once, Shayantani is one, Shraddha is one. So that means all the names are only once repeated. There is no duplication as such here. It's working fantastic. So till here I'm happy. Once you are happy, you can also just run by clicking on this directly run. That's it, created. It's over. I'm not running manually, I'm just clicking on the button. You can also paste a button once you complete your project, but don't be in hurry creating a beautiful animated buttons. But before that, we need to ensure that it's successfully running. This is how I'm being a developer, I'm learning, and how I'm writing and understanding to finish this project. First, I'm going to data, I'm copying the data and pasting it. So, okay, fantastic. Now you created a new sheet, you got all the names. Now what usually I told you is once let me run again. Okay, once a rep sheet is created, first I want to find out who is the person, because it can't be a Ajit all the time. It could be Amit. Next time the first guy who's going to be in my second row could be a Amit, it could be a Devi, it could be a Bhaskar. So I don't want to specify in my code Ajinka, I don't want to specify as Pardiva. The reason is these are static names, but here I want to take dynamically, I want to pick up the names. So that's why you removed all the duplicates. Now once you, here I want to go to the rep sheet. In the from the rep sheet, I want to go to the data sheet. I want to filter the data. Then I want to copy it, create a new sheet, and you want to paste it. All these steps, what I'm talking about is can be worked only for one person. What if I put all this if condition, what I'm going to write only once, if I put all this if condition into a loop, it will keep executing that particular program again and again, again and again for 94 times. That is the beauty of macro here. So let me use Alt F11 again. Let me analyze what to be done now. So after removing the duplicates, what I want to do is I want to go to the data sheet. Okay, before going to the data sheet, the very first thing is you want to understand who is the first guy, right? So for that, what we need is we need a for loop. Okay, we want a for loop because first, who is the first person? Who is the second person? Who is the third person? We want to find the people, right? So let me write a separate to make you understand how my for loop is going to work. I'm writing a separate for loop here to make you understand how I'm going to pick up the names from that sheet. So later, I'll club this for loop into the main project. So here I'm declaring simply dim I as integer and dim, let's say rep underscore name maybe as a string, because I want to hold all these representative names in in a particular variable called rep name. And I is an integer which will simply loop through all the records. So first I'm starting with for, then I'm using I as a variable equals to, should I say 1 or 2? The reason is I'm saying 2 because my rows are starting from 2, not from the 1. So for that, I'm starting with 2. 2, what is my end number? Let me go to the end number. End number is 95, so let me put it as 95. I know it is not dynamic because it could be tomorrow 9500, it could be only 25 tomorrow, but how could you give year 95? Because I'm just started with the for loop. So let me make it dynamically till later, but first I want to understand this. Then I'm using a next as a close. Okay, this for loop will work for 95 times, but what is the purpose of this for loop? I want to get all the names of the representatives. So for that, what I'll do is rep name, I want to store in a variable which is always at the left side, equal to range of a1 or a2, because my rows are starting from there, dot value. Now what happens is quite interesting. When I'm running this, first time I got Ajinka, second time I got Ajinka, third time it's not working. The reason being, you have given A2. A2 is what? A static reference, right? So let me remove A2 smartly and replace with ampersand I. I is a variable which is keep repeating. That is what we learned when you are printing 1 to number. So though it is a simplest thing which we done, creating a 10 numbers, but that was giving you great knowledge how to loop through different rows. So first time Ajinka, okay, got it. Second time it is Amit, yes, working. Fourth time is Arun. Next time we have Bhaskar. Okay, it is printing, but I want to see all the names are getting printed or not. So I don't want to use a message box because 94 times I'll get a message box, which is not good. I don't want to use the sheet. I don't want to print there. Simply I want to debug dot print rep underscore name. So by doing this, what happens is you will see all these names in a your developer mode that is called as immediate window. So in this immediate window, I want to see if I'm getting all the names or not. If I'm if I'm if my understanding is correct, I should be getting all the 94. That means I'm successful in getting all the names. So let me run just by using F5 key. It will show you all the names. Okay, I got till Firoz, who is the first guy, Ajinka. So that means all the names I'm able to get. So I'm successful. So this for loop is absolutely working. So what should I do now? So after removing the duplicates, I need a for loop. That is what my understanding. So that means remove this dims, keep at the top because those are the declarations here. Then next we have something called a for loop. So let me start with the for loop here. For where you want to start the for loop, that is after creating a rep sheet, after pasting it, after removing the duplicates. From here you want to repeat, not this remove duplicates. You are not going to repeat every time. That's only one time exercise, right? So for loop I started, then I said next. Okay, then I let me copy this value also. That's it. This is none of my use now. I'll put this rep name. So whenever I'm running this, I will be getting a name from my sheet. Which sheet it is? So we need to know the sheet name also. Let me take this rep sheet as a sheet because that's a by default sheet all with the time. I don't want any dynamic nature in that. I'm saying rep rep dot. Okay, so this is how I brought in everything. Now I got the names also. So rep name where my entire customers or salesperson or employee names are getting stored. 95 is the end row of my number, which I'm going to make it, let's say make dynamic because this is not the way to work, right? So we need to make it okay, this is not the comments. Comments need to be used a single quote. In a SQL, we'll use two hyphens there. Okay, two hyphens. It's a comment in SQL, but here it is a single quote. All right, so that's how I got the name. So after that, what should I do? I want to understand after this, what should I do? So first thing is, after creating this particular, uh, getting the names, we want to create a new sheet altogether, brand new sheet for Ajinka, brand new sheet for Amit. So for that, I need to say sheets dot again, same story add. But again, where do you want to add? I want to add the same style. So after, right? So remember the first sheet, what you added is to create the name, a sheet, a permanent sheet called rep. But this time you're creating a sheets for all the participants, all the employees, for all the customer sales people, you're creating this sheet. So this is to create a sheets for them. I created the sheet. After the creating the new sheet, what is the name you want to give? I don't know. I don't know what sheet name to be given. Here, can I give rep? Can I say Devi here? Can I say Pardiva here? I don't know. I cannot give the name static here. But which variable is holding all the names? Rep name. That's it. So that means whenever you create a new sheet, please give the name called rep name. So let me see if it works still here. It's quite easy to understand. Uh, I need to remove this because macro to be created, macro should create that particular sheet, not my B. It is not sheet, it's a sheets. Yeah. So running it, going to the sheet, copying the column, creating a new sheet called a rep sheet, then pasting the data. Very good. Can you remove the duplicates, please? Yes, removed. First, I want to understand who is the first guy. Ajinka. Can you create a new sheet for him? Okay. Can you give a name to it? Ajinka. Okay. Again, I want to for loop and I want to understand who is the next person. Amit. Create a new sheet for Amit. Okay. Creating. Okay, it's doing its wonderful job. So what I need actually, it is able to create the sheets for me, but it is not able to get the data for me. Why? Because we haven't written any code for it. That means after creating a sheet, you want to paste the data. Whatever the paste data you want to paste it here after creating. So after creating the in the sense, so that means you beforehand creating the sheet itself, you should be in a position to filter this data, right? So you should be filtering the data. First person is Aishwarya, but I'm not interested in Aishwarya because that is not the name which is there in the rep. In the rep, always you have a latest data, right? So we need to go with only the first name what you have Ajinka here. So for that means what I need to do is let me delete all because it's working. The only thing is I need to get the data. So after creating this, the second thing what you need to do is auto filter. Okay, I don't know how to create an auto filter, so let me do it manually first to see if I'm working. So for that, I have a name called Ajinka. I want to filter with Ajinka now. So I'm simply selecting any of the column, not particularly represented. You can select A1 and say Alt shortcut, or you can go to the auto filter. Just go here and paste the name and click on it. and use your best shortcut key, that is Control Shift Star, to select the entire data, right? Instead of selecting like this, go to the right, go to the down, you can select that way, or you can put cursor anywhere in the sheet and select Control Shift Star. That is what we learned in the initial stages. After that, you copy the data, and whatever the Ajay sheet which is already there, Ajinka sheet is already there, you paste the data there. That's it. That is what we want to do only one time. And then one time will be repeated again and again for 95 times. So let's see how it works now. So I don't know how to create an auto filter. Again, I'm stuck up in my project. Whom should I approach? Don't worry, just go to the developer tab, go to the recorder, just say okay, and click on anywhere and say auto filter, and select any person here from, okay, let me select manually Ajinka here and say okay. And select anywhere, simply say Control Shift Star to copy the data. I stopped it now, stop the macro. Okay, I'll get back to the normal shape. I'll go to my Alt F11 to see who is the guy who's going to help me in auto filtering. Okay, so this is previous one. Let me remove it. This is okay. Let's try to understand very closely how this auto filter is working for me. First, it is selecting range A1, and after that it is selecting auto filter. Okay, it's not required actually because it's a recorder is doing multiple jobs. Let me do a simple way. Instead of selecting it, let's directly auto filter it. Okay, let's directly auto filter it. I have two lines of code which I'm trying to make one line auto filter directly. Okay. After that, it is saying active sheet dot range A1 to 27,521, which is wrong because it's not always uh, your data will be 27,000. So can I say C colon C here? Rather, simply say C colon C. That means I want to select the entire column of C so that I can auto filter, right? That's how we are going to select a particular range in and copying in auto filtering the data. So once you are auto filtering, you can also simply say A1, right? Because you are selecting a A1 to select the filter, or you can say A colon A. So instead of putting a lot of pressure on selecting the entire range, which takes a lot of time, so simply say A1 here. So that means you are selecting A1 cell and you are auto filtering the data, and which field you are looking for actually. If you look at, it's not one, it is three. One, two, three, that is this column. Though your selection is here and you're auto filtering in the A1, but you are selecting C column to filter, right? So that means either it can be C1 or it can, E1 doesn't matter, but filtration column is very important because that is where you are filtering. If you put 4, it will be a D column. If you put 5, it will be if you put 5, it will be a unit cost. So that means my code is quite clear. It says field equal to 3. That means the third column is trying to be getting auto filtered now. Now, what is exactly you call it as criteria here? Criteria is Ajinka. So do you think Ajinka is going to be forever in filtering? No. Tomorrow it could be Devi. It could be someone else tomorrow. It could be someone else. So that means this code is perfectly working, but I need little tweaks. So let's try to do that. I'll copy this entire code. I'll go to Control R and go to this one. After giving a proper name to that, what I want to do is I want to auto filter. Okay, so let me write here first so that you can follow along. Auto filter data in data sheet. So that means first I need to activate the data sheet because I'm in a different sheet, right? So I need to activate it. After activating in the active sheet, you are filtering the data with criteria called Ajinka, which is wrong. It can't be Ajinka. Which variable is holding all the people names, the customer names or employee names? That is your rep name. So let me go back to a variable and give the variable name there. So you already understood by for loop how rep name is playing a very important role in capturing all the representative names. So after that, what I'm doing is I'm selecting a range. Okay. And this is also not required because while you're doing selection again and again, directly you can select it. Why you are selecting and copying, you can directly copy it. So that's how I'm just trying to make my code optimized so that it can run faster. Instead of 5, 6 lines, I'm making it as a few lines. Instead of selecting and copying, I'm directly selecting it. So this is how I'm selecting and copying. Let me see if it works till here because a lot way to go. But I want to stop here and see if it is works. First, I'm copying it. I'm creating a new sheet. I'm giving a name to rep. I'm pasting the data, removing the duplicates. I'm going to that sheet, finding who is the first guy, Ajinka. Okay, create a sheet for him, give a name to him. After that, go to the data sheet and auto filter it. Okay, perfect. Can you copy the data? Okay, it is copying the entire data. Then how should I come back to this Ajinka sheet? Can I give, now let me go back to this. If I want to paste the data in the newly created sheet, I need to say something like this: sheets of Ajinka, paste it here, dot paste or dot range A1 dot paste, which is wrong. If I say Ajinka, tomorrow it's not going to be Ajinka, it could be Amit, or it could be Devi, or it could be Parthiva, right? So this is wrong. We cannot target a sheet name with a sheet name here. So we already know the sheet which is created. Okay, the sheet which is already created. Where the sheet is created? The sheet is being created here with the active sheet name. So when the active sheet is created already, we know that the sheet name is going to be a rep name only, right? So let me select like this: sheets of rep name dot select. Whatever the sheet newly you created, it is stored under the variable called rep name. So here is the rep name. After selecting it, I want to say range a1 dot paste special or something. Then let's see if it works still here. It's quite clear. The way I'm speaking, I'm writing the code, nothing. I'm just thinking what I want. I'm writing the same code. I know the steps. That is the only greatest part of me. I know the steps. What are the steps to be taken to complete this project? Based on that steps, I'm started writing the code. So that's how it is becoming easy for me. I'm copying the data, creating a new sheet, creating a rep, pasting the data, remove the duplicates, go to the first guy, create a new sheet for him, give a name to it, because that is it is Ajinka first. Go to the data sheet, filter the data, copy the data, go to representative name again. It's not going to rep or any other sheet. It's going directly to rep, because this is a rep sheet. It's pasting the data. Again, can I have a for loop, please? Yes. Can I create a new sheet? Create it. Can I give a name to it? Ajinka, Amit. Again, filter with Amit. Okay. Give a name to it. Paste the data here. Okay, it's working. Let me start running directly now, because it takes 94 times I need to keep pressing this F8 key. I'm deleting this data. I'm deleting this also. Now what I'll do is simply I can place a button here also, but I'm not doing it. We'll do little later. I want to see how this macro works now. Let me save the file. Alt F8. I know distribute data is my macro. I'm just clicking on run, and we'll see what are the issues you are going to face now, because we tested only for 1 or 2 persons. Does it really work for all the people or not? Once I say run, I don't know how much time it is going to take. Well, let us try to see also. Right now it is 17 minutes. So run. It is doing the job. Is doing the job, but you are not able to see, but it's doing the job. And we'll be creating 94 sheets within no time. All right. If you look at like it is not taken even a 1 minute, because we are still at in a 6 o'clock 17 minutes only. I was talking about something initially. It takes 1 day for me to create all this. If you look at Firoz, who is the last guy, he has only Firoz data. Okay. If I go to Sujit, does has only Sujit data? Yes, I have. If I go to Shraddha, then I have only Shraddha data. So that means I'm able to create all 94 sheets here, guys. All 94 sheets I've created with the proper data. Just imagine I created a proper data within a less than a minute. Had it been if I'm doing it manually, and even the data size is not same. Ajinka is 17 rows holding, and Amit is same. And if you look at Devi, she's holding 18 records. And if you look at Parthiva, is also holding 18 records. And Rupali, if you look at like 22 records. So that means the data size is also not same, but still I'm able to work very confidently without any issues here. Resume recording. All right. So now that like it's working, this program is perfectly working, but there is an issue called 95. That 95 is can be a problem tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and in future it could be a problem because it can never be a 95. Tomorrow only 10 people are working in my organization, so I have only 10 people information. So this macro will work for, but it will work for 95 times. Actually, I have only 5 people, 10 people, but still it's working for 95 people. No, this should not happen. So for that, I need to declare a variable called lrow, anything for that matter. You can give your name also, but I'm giving lrow, which stands for last row, something like that. So here what I'm trying to do is I'm using the same lrow here, range. If you want to get the last row count, we need to use range a1 a rows dot count dot end of Excel up dot row. That means if this is working or not, I'm not sure. I want to work separately first. This is how I keep testing. Sub something L I'm putting here, and I'm trying to check if it is working or not. L row. L row is 95. Okay, perfectly it's identifying. So let me increase the range here and see if it is that is also working for him. 106 is my last row now. This should tell me your last row is, let me put it in a message box so that you can see what is happening. Last row 106, perfect. Last row is working. So let me just, as I said, only 10 people are working till Shraddha. So I'm removing all the names. So will it work? Only saying you have only 10 people now? Yes, 10 people, it's working. So that means it's working. In that case, so I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll go back. uh, I'll paste somewhere. You need to think where we can put it actually. I pasted the data. At that time, you don't want to find the last row because that time if you find, it will be 27,000. So once you remove the duplicates, then you want to see what is the actual count of employees in your or salesperson. So there I'm pasting the last row. After pasting last row, this is a variable which is storing all the numbers, the last number. So this 95 can be replaced with L row. That's it. That's how we can make easily things dynamic. Now it will work for either a 1%, 10%, 10,000 or 1 million tomorrow without had any break while running the macro. Recording resume. So for that, I want something called dim start time. Okay, that's a variable name, nothing to do with the time at all. Once at the starting point, I'm okay. This is your starting point where I want to check what is the time. I want to check the what is the start time. So for that, start uh, the variable name. Then we need to say equals to. Let me see. And here, if I type now, what I will get. Okay, fantastic. It is telling me today is January 3rd. No, sorry, my system is showing wrong. January 3rd, 2021, and the time is 18:28. Okay, so that's the time what it is showing. So that's what I wanted actually. I want a formula to be used, which I use in my Excel. Okay, I got the time here. So this is the starting time. At the same time, you want to end a time so that I can really find out when I started my journey, when I ended. Between that, if I subtract, I'll get the original time of macro running. So let me find out how to put the date and time. So basically in Excel, we have like if you have now, let me put this way. If you have now, if you want to format this date, we have a format function, right? We have a format function through which you can format any date and time. If you want time to be displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, you can format it. If you want the same date to be displayed as only month and year, then you can format it. So let's try to use the same style of what we used to do in Excel. So here what I want to do is job completed in, let me put that style also. That means I completed in so and so time. Here I want to use the format function. Simply, I want to use now. So that means when I started my journey, what is now time? That is the current time. And what is the current time now when you completed your job? So now is showing me the current time. Then you can say subtract that start time what you started. Okay, subtract what is the time you started. Once that is over, why can't we give a format? How, in which format you want to show? I want to show something like in a HH, MM, SS. It's our wish, like how you want to show. Today is this date and this much of time it has taken to complete your job. Now, once I'm closing this, I'm putting this VB information or VB. It can't be a VB question, right? It is a information which you're trying to give to the user. So that's it. There is an error here. So that means whenever you are trying to concatenate two things, we need to use what? Ampersand symbol. That's it. I had an error here. Let me show you that. Uh, I completed VB information. Is it VB information? Okay. Once I say enter, I got the error. The error is expected end of the statement. So the problem here is, here we said message box. After message box, there should be some operator, either comma, to provide, because the message box has 4 parameters, right? It is expecting you to give that parameters, but I don't want to specify those parameters here. I want to give ampersand symbol just to show you the date and time. All right. So this is what I've done, a simple trick here. First, I'm trying to understand what is the start time. Then at the end time also, I'm trying to understand what is the end time now, so that I can minus start time, that is you, when you started your journey, and what is the current time now. I'm subtracting and putting in a format called HHMMSS. That's it. Let me run this macro and see if it works. In reality, what happens, being on Zoom, you are not able to see each sheet properly, but when you run on your system, what happens, it will show you each sheet whenever it is creating and putting the data. But the problem here is I have to delete all the sheet because already the sheets are there. If I'm running this, I will get an error, right? So let me select all the sheets here. How do I select? Select all the sheets. We'll try to find a solution how to delete the sheets also. I'm just deleted. Okay, for now I'm deleting it. Now I'm selecting this, I'm putting this, and saying run. So what happens here is, it is trying to tell you how much time I have taken in order to run. Instead of you watching the time and telling somebody this is the time it has taken, or sending an email like it's taking 1 hour, 1 minute, no, nothing. Let's do the magic in front of live, how much time it is taking. So being on the Zoom, it is going into a not responding, but if you work on personal system, it works very cleanly. So right now it's 32. So finally, I should be receiving a message saying that like so and so time it has taken to complete this process. All right, it's already completed. Okay, it has taken 35 seconds, guys, just to finish this job. It has taken 35 seconds. So let me increase more data so that we can see the clarity. Okay, so I have 27,000 rows. Let me multiply it. Okay, I pasted more data now so that it should take more data. 55,000 rows I have. But before that, I don't want to delete something manually. Uh, Let me delete the sheets with a macro itself. So for that, I want to create a main sheet here, something like main sheet, or you can say like macro sheet or something. I want to design a little bit. This is how I do generally when I'm handovering any project to the end user. I'll try to hide all the rows and columns because I want to keep it very clean. I'll go to this view. I'll just remove the grid lines. What you do in Excel, basically, that is what I'm trying to do. I'll go to this home, select the entire data, go to the home. I'll try to give some background color stuff, and I'll try to insert a shape maybe. I'll go to, where you gone? So I just placed one shape here, which is going to be my, works like my button. I want to little bit format it the way you want to do it. You can use whatever the color you want to use, just make it readable, easily understandable. Putting the data button here, I want to write some story here saying that when you click on this button, what happens. So that is what I want to write in general when I'm handling something. So this is basically button used to distribute data. Okay, nothing but it's segregating data. That's how I understood. So let me format furthermore. I want to make it 14. So that's it. So my button is ready. But what to do with the button when you have not assigned any macro for it? So I need to right click, assign a macro, click on distribute data and say, okay, now when I place my mouse pointer, it is ready to clickable. Okay, when it is, you can click. Now I'm copying the same one. Instead of creating one more, I'm pasting it. You can have one more color if you want. Just paste this. copy it and let me go back. You can copy and paste these shapes as many as you want, because sometimes it's not that your project will have only one button to run entire thing. I want to delete some, what do you call, the entire sheet. So for that, I want to have one more button maybe. I'm going to the shapes here again, shapes. Here this time I want to take something, anything for that matter. So let me take this different style. Okay, this is a different style of button. Here I want to say delete sheets. So it's completely your design, your creativity, how you want page to be created. So I'm saying 15. I want to make it little smaller. Okay, this is to delete your sheets. But do you have a macro to delete the sheets? No, we don't have. So we need to create it. Let's create it. I want to delete all the sheet at once. We have already seen how to create sheets. All right, so sub delete sheets. I need to have underscore here. All right. So you want to delete a sheet, but which sheet? All the sheets? Yes. But do you know in reality, you need to have at least one sheet before you delete all the sheets. So here what I need is two important sheets which are really important for me. This is one is a data sheet. I don't want to delete this data sheet and I don't want to delete the main sheet. Rest of the sheets I want to delete, right? This is what you do because your boss came and said, you have a different data now. So what you'll do is simply go to the main and click on delete sheet. Delete sheet, it will create all the sheets will be deleted. Then that's it. You'll paste the new data and run the macro again. So I need to go here. Okay. First, I'm creating a new object called SST as worksheet, which you have seen already, but let me go through again slowly. For each SST in active workbooks, active workbook dot sheets, next. Okay, now if I say SST dot name, what happens? We have seen, I want to see in the message box, for example. When I'm running this, it will tell me, okay, you have a main sheet. When I'm running again, it will tell you the second sheet is data sheet. So that means it's working, right? So it's moving to every sheet and it's telling me what is the sheet name. So the way we have a property called sheet sst.name, we have sst.copy, we have sst delete. Now we want to delete, right? So I'm using a simply delete here. When I run this program now, within a less than macroseconds, it will delete all the sheets, right? But I don't want that to be happen. What should I want is, I want to retain the main sheet, I want to retain the data sheet, and the rest of the sheets I want to delete. So for that, what I wanted to do is, I want to write a if condition. The condition I want to put, you delete all the sheets, but ensure that you're not deleting the two important sheets for me in my projects, that is main and data. So if I want to do that, I'm writing if sst dot name not equals to data, let's say data, and sst dot name not equal to main, then you please delete. Okay, then what is missing here, that is end if. So within the loop I'm keeping end if. I'm started with for loop, ended with next. Within this, I'm starting with if and end if. That means whenever you are running the for loop, first check this condition. If it is not equal to data, if it is not equal to main sheet, then only you delete, otherwise don't delete it. So before deleting, I'm little bit worried whether it will delete all the sheets or only these sheets. So I want to check debug dot print sst. So that means sst dot name. I want to check if it is working or not in the debug print. If it is working, then I can blindly run the macro to see it. So first it is checking what is the name of your sheet, main, but it is not printing the main here. Why? Because we don't want to delete that sheet. It is not printing even data sheet. It is printing rep sheet because that I want to delete. It is printing Ajinka because these are the sheets which I want to delete, but I don't want to delete the main and data sheet. So that's why I controlled that sheet names here so that I should not delete it. So it's not deleting. In fact, it is just getting the names. Now what I want to do is I want to really delete it. Let me see what happens if I run this code. a few lines of code which I've written just to delete all the sheets, not the main and data sheet. So it is not running at this moment because we have not assigned a macro to it. So deleting sheets and say, okay, once you run it, it is asking you all the Microsoft Excel will permanently delete the contents of the sheet. Do you want to continue? I said delete. Okay, again it's asking, do you want to delete the sheet? Okay, it's again asking. So that means 94 times I need to click this button. Okay, let me cancel this macro now. Okay, I cancel the button. The reason is what happens in the reality is, let me understand through the Excel. I'll insert a new sheet here. Okay, I have a sheet name here 1217. If I usually forget about macros and all, if you normally delete, there is a prompt which comes up on your screen asking, do you want to delete? So this is the same problem what I'm facing in macro also. When I'm deleting 94 sheets, why I've written a macro? So that I can not spend too much of time in deleting the data. It should happen within a seconds. But what is the problem I'm facing here is, it is asking every now and then, every sheet, after every sheet is asking, do you want to delete it? You want to delete it? That is the question is being asked, and I don't want to be asked. So in that case, what you can do is, you can use something right now. Just remember this, because I'm going to expand this more. I want to use, before sheets dot delete, application dot display alerts equal to false. Application display equal to true. Okay, so what happens by using this single line of code is, okay, first time you are making application for this entire Excel application, there is a property called display alerts. I'm making as false. So by default, this by default, this display alerts is true. That's why you are getting that message box. You want to delete? Yes, no, that's what you are getting that message box. So by default, I'm making for time being false. Later on, I'm making it true again, because I want to get back to the macros Excel settings normally. For example, you have a switch, you are putting on, fan is running, you consumed it, later we are switching off. So that means you are getting back to the original state of the ceiling fan or TV for whatever. So that means you are making it false and you are making it true. We'll try to explore more this one line what I've written here. It's only one line, but here again I have written because to make it true. First time it will be false and second time it will be true. So let me close it. And okay, I want to give a message box also at the end so that the user can understand. Message box or deleted VB critical. Let us put an icon called critical, because it's a critical information which you are trying to give the user, or you can say, or question, or not question, exclamation, or whatever the icon you want to use. Once I click on delete sheets, it will not take much time. It's just trying to check all the sheets and telling you sheets are now deleted. But do I really deleted my own sheets also? No. The main sheet and data sheet, it's still live, and the rest of the sheets are deleted because I put a condition saying that please leave these sheets when you're deleting. And the beauty of using this application display alerts, you might have already observed, it is not prompting me, do you want to delete a sheet? If I create a manual sheet here again, and I want to delete it, it is asking me, right? So let me again recreate some empty sheets here just like that for fun, and run this slowly to see how it is working. First, it is checking, is it a data sheet? No, so delete it. Is it a data sheet? No. Is it a main sheet? No. So it's trying to check if the name is that, then it is not deleting. Otherwise, it start deleting all the sheets. And once the job is over, it is end. It will tell you the job is completed. That's how the macro is running. That's it. And it's telling the job is completed. Now the sheets are deleted. Now for me, it's so easy. Whenever I want to create, just click on distribute. That's it. The sheets are going to be created within a less than a minute. And there is a one more nicely created a button. Whenever my boss says, no, the data what you created is incorrect because we got a new data extract from the system, just place it, run it within a less than a minute. You are going to run all the, you are going to create all the sheets, required sheets for your requirement. Let me just close it on. Being we are on Zoom, it is taking time. Otherwise, if you run on your system, it will be much faster. And I'll show you the easy way to customize and to optimize to reduce this time also. Now we have 50,000 rows. So that's why it's taking more time. Earlier it was 35 seconds. Now it should be 1 minute maybe. Okay, it's 54 seconds. Earlier it was 34 seconds. Now it's 54 seconds because the data size we have is almost, okay, right now we have the data almost 55,000 rows. Ajinka, earlier it was 18 rows. Now we have 33 rows because I duplicated the data, right? Now just imagine, I created my file, I kept in my shared drive, and my boss said, what you created is wrong because we got a new data. No problem. Just go to the main sheet without working over. Just delete the sheet just like that. That's it. That sheets are deleted. Now go to the data sheet, delete this also manually if you want, or you can create that also a button. Delete it. Whatever the new data which your boss is giving, paste it, just paste it and click on the button again. That's it. So how easy it has become now. One more important thing here, it has taken 53 seconds, which is still holds good, but I don't like any macro which works more than 2 minutes. I always wants to make it faster. So how you can make any macro faster? Let's try to learn the tricks here. The very first one, before starting off your macro, what I'll do is there are few things which I'm going to write here. That is, you'll see a major portion of your time will be reduced. The first one, I want to use application dot display alerts equal to false. That means when you're running this any program, in between any message box comes, somebody has to sit and say okay to that, right? So let's suppress those message boxes in between. While running the macro, I don't want to see any pop-ups. Directly I want to see one message box which comes at the end, that is job is completed. So that is stopping the alerts. Next one is application dot enable events equal to false. Application dot screen updating equal to false. So these are the three things which I'll always write before actual my code starts. The reason is this display alerts will suppress all the message boxes. Application dot enable events, any events are running in between or behind the scenes, it will stop it for timing till the macro works. Screen updating, what happens is when you're running macro, it will show you each page how it is working. The page is flickering. Most of you guys might be observed, like when macro is running, the system is looks like as if it is moving, right? The sheets are moving here and there. It is copying, it's opening, it's closing. It will show you all the actions. I don't want to see all those actions, because what happens is when you're running a macro, whenever it is moving, the Excel is moving, the sheets are moving, when your dialog box is open, it is consuming a lot of memory on your system. So you want to stop it. That means when you run the macro, it will just not show you anything, only it will show only the message box when it is completed. And one more thing, I want to use application dot calculation equal to Excel manual. That means you might have observed in the real times, any workbook which consists of calculation uh, instead of manual, if it is what is that option we have? If you go to Excel, we have two things, right? If you go to Excel options, okay, here. If you go to the Excel options, we have a formulas. In the formulas, if you see by default, it's automatic. That means if you have a VLOOKUP, you have external links, whatever we have, you want this to be automatically updated. So that's why it is automatic. So what I'm trying to do now with the macro is, can you make it manual until my macro runs so that my workbook can work faster? So I'm making everything false at the starting stage, because by default, these are true in your system. In your Excel settings, all this true. You have already seen practically calculation was auto mode, automatic, right? I made it manual now with the help of a code. Now what I'll do is I'll copy all these lines. I'll go to the last before message box, or doesn't matter after the message box, paste it again. This time you don't make it as false, make it as true. Why? Because you are trying to get back to the original settings without disturbing the Excel settings. Here, instead of Excel manual, you're going to say automatic. Okay. By default, it is automatic. I'm making it manual. Then at the end of the macro, I'm making it again automatic. The reason is, while my macro is running, I don't want this kind of any kind of roadblocks. and I want this macro to be work faster. Let's see how different the macro will run now this time, because I stopped everything whenever the macro runs. Display alerts I stopped, enable events I stopped, screen updating also I stopped, calculation is also stopped. Now let's see, earlier it was taken like 53 seconds or something. First time it was 33 because of less data. Now let's run by clicking on distribute data. Now when I run that, it should not take 1 minute or 55 seconds or whatever. It should be less than that because I stopped everything. And you can see the Excel page is not moving here and there. It is completely static, and only the buffering circle is running, because behind the scenes the macro is running without any dialog boxes or any events or display alerts or whatever. The calculation is also normal now, so it should run faster than earlier. If it is running for 5 minutes, you will see a drastic change. It will come down to a 1 minute. That's a challenge what I have seen practically in the live environment. Now it is 53 seconds. Now let's see what is the output you are going to get. All right, so the job is completed now in 45 seconds. So earlier it was 53 seconds, the job time is reduced. So if you, majorly you can see this difference when it is running for a minute. We'll see practically when we are working with Outlook, because when you're sending in this kind of sheets in the email, which usually takes a majorly 5 to 10 minutes, but I want to make it a 1 minute. When we try to use the same application methods, what I've used here, there you will see the major difference. Here you found a little bit of difference, like 53 seconds to 45 seconds, but still it's good. It is reduced the time. So that's how I created the sheets, and my boss is happy because uh, the data is changed. No problem. Just go to the main sheet again. Go to the main sheet. Just click on, just click on delete sheet. That's it. No matter, it will not take. That's it. The sheet is created. Go to the data sheet, paste the new data, and again you paste the new data and go to the main sheet and just run it. It is dynamic. No matter whether you have a 55,000 rows, whether you have a 1 lakh rows, whether we have a 10 lakh rows, that is the entire sheet is having a data also, doesn't matter for me. I'm least bothered because my macro is such a dynamic macro now. It can identify how many rows, how many columns, and simply can turn around your entire information into a report. All right, so we have seen how to distribute the data, how to delete the sheets, because anytime my boss asks like can you just recreate again? I can create without any uh, much changes, simply running the macros. I'm not doing anything here. So because it's able to also put the data in a proper format because of its last row, because it's identifying it's a 94 or 95 or whatever it may be. So now the purpose of our mini project, what we are going to do is, sometimes there may be a requirement like you want to distribute the data into a different sheets, which you have seen. Sometimes you have sheets in data in the different sheets, and you want to consolidate into one sheet. For example, uh, I'm working in a global region. So what happens is 54 countries or 60 countries are sending all the multiple sheets maybe, or in a single work in a multiple sheets. So that means this is Asia, this is Australia, this is Brazil, this is Poland, this is UK, this is US. They are sending in multiple sheets. So what I want to do is, I want to go to US sheet, I want to copy the data, I want to come to a main sheet, I want to paste there. Then, then here is the trick actually. So what happens is, let me show you practically. I have this Ajinka, this is Ajinka data. I have, let me take this as Amit data. So I have in Amit. Okay. So what happens is, in reality, whenever you're pasting, even if you're even if you're asked to do consolidation manually, how you're going to do is, first you'll go to the first sheet, you'll copy this entire information, you'll copy this data, you'll select the A1 because being the first sheet, first data, I pasted here. When you go to the second sheet, because the sheet is completed, manually I know I'm able to view the sheet, so I know. But when you're writing the code, we need to be very careful. It should not go to the sheet again. It should skip this sheet and go to the next sheet and copy the data. Okay, not the header, because already I have the header. So I'm copying from the second row. Let's assume that we already have a header. I'm copying from the second row. Now the question is, where should I paste the data? Should I paste from here? No, that is wrong. You need to, even if you're doing it manually, what happens is you will try to check where is the last cell used. Okay, after 17, I'm eligible to paste this data. This is what the consolidation we do in real time. That means hundreds of sheets you are putting into one sheet. hundreds of information you're putting into one sheet. So by this, you might have already understood, you might have already visualized the code. That's nothing but I need to use a for each. The way I deleted the sheets, I need to use a for each to copy the data from other sheets and get into a consolidated sheet. So let's do it. I will delete all the sheets. I don't want to delete manually, just delete it. You deleted everything apart from main and data. Now, first thing is I want to hide this sheet. It's not required because I want to consolidate it, right? So before consolidation, I need all the sheets to be ready, assuming that it is sent by my business. So I have all the sheets which are going to be printed now. I repeat, assuming this application, this Excel file already has 54 countries or 54 or 94 salesmen's information is already there. And I want to consolidate all 94 salesperson information into one particular single file, one particular single sheet maybe. I haven't moved to workbooks. We'll talk about later, but still I'm in the worksheets only. Once you are comfortable with the sheets, we can move on to the workbooks, how to create a multiple workbooks. So it's going to take some 45 seconds, believe, almost completing. All right. So if you can see the time is captured is 45 seconds. Excellent. So now I can see there are 94 sheets of each sheet. So what basically my boss told me is I got the sheet of all sales representative this time in a separate sheet. Can you just quickly consolidate? Okay, let me start consolidating. I'll copy this, go to the sheet, paste it. Go to this sheet, copy it, paste in another sheet. Go to this sheet and paste it. So I may do a good job because I'm good at Excel, but just imagine how much time you are going to spend in order to consolidate. And sometimes you are not sure whether you copied the data from there or not. You need to keep rechecking. But if you write and test it, the code once, it will run forever, whether it is a 94 sheets or 54 sheets or whatever the sheet size might be. So let's see, I already have the sheets. Now we need to be very careful. When you're copying the data, we need to ensure that we should not go to the main sheet. We should not go to the data sheet because I don't want to copy anything from here. I don't want to go to the rep sheet. I don't want to copy anything from here. I want to start my journey from Ajinka here. Okay, I want to start the journey from Ajinka here. So for that, what I want to do is I want to create a brand new sheet to consolidate all this data. So for that, what I'll do is I'll go for a brand new module sub consolidation as my macro name. So first I want to create dim SST as worksheet here. I'm writing again. Actually, I can copy and paste the same delete what I created code. I can copy paste and do the little tweak, but let me write so that you can understand again. For each SST in active workbooks dot sheets, then next. Okay, now with this help of this one, what will happen is SST dot activate. So by this, what happens is simply code what I've written. I want to understand how this I can accomplish. First, I am running this. First, it is activating main sheet. It is activating data sheet. Look at the bottom and you can observe it is activating every sheet. Okay. It is going, and it is activating every sheet. So that means I'm able to move between sheets. So that means I'm successful till here. So what I want to do here, basically, you want to uh, create a brand new sheet. So before for loop only, let's create a brand new sheet because you don't want to create 100 times a sheet, right? Or 94 times. You want to create only one sheet, which is going to be a consolidated sheet, and all this data is going to be dumped there. So that means sheets dot add. That's it. My sheet is created. Then what you want to do? You want to name. You want to name it. So active sheet dot name equal to, let's say, consolidation as a sheet name. Okay, so that means let me see how it works. So when I'm running, I have created a new sheet now called consolidated at the end. Okay, now I'm deleting it. It's working, right? So you don't want to create a sheet uh, somewhere. Okay, you want to create exactly after the data sheet. So how do you create exactly after the sheet? Or you can say active sheet, right? Or you can name it as a sheets.count so that you can create at the last. So whatever it may be, let's try to first dump the data. So I'm able to go to each and every sheet. But before that, when you create an empty sheet, what happens is basically it will create an empty sheet, but you will not have headers here, right? You will not never have a headers. So that means I want to create a headers first. So for that, what I'll do is I'll simply try to mimic what we have already the data. I'll simply do it as this, range a1 dot value equal to, I am first creating a column called date. Okay. Then I'm creating one more column for region. Okay. Then I'm creating one more. Then I'm creating one more. Okay. I have all the columns now. We have a date. We have a region. We have a rep. Oh, this is unit item. That means range item here. So that means what I did simple smart work is I just created a new brand new sheet and I created the columns. Let me see whether it creates active sheet newly created, but it's not yet given the name because I've not crossed that line. It's created a name also. Now I'm giving a column name here, A1. A1 should have a name. So it should be B1. This should be C1. This should be D1. This is E1. So that means I need a proper column names the way I have for my sheet. Okay, I'm able to create the sheets, but I want to even color the way it was. So let me go to a recorder. I don't want to write the information. Select it, select this one, go here, make it some red color, make it some white color. Okay, I made it. Now I want to make it bold. That's it. Go to the developer and stop the recording. So what you are done is just recorded the code. And when I go back to my new module, this is what I'm going to get. So A1 to this, you are given the color, this one, and you increase the size. Big stuff, but you can write in a single line as you already know, right? You can write in a single line of code to get all these colors and background, but let me just do the copy and paste job because now I know how to do that. Now, first I'm creating an active sheet, giving a column names also. For that, I'm giving a header, I'm giving proper background color, proper text color, I'm increasing the font size, I'm doing everything stuff. So now the sheet is created. After that, anyway, you are able to move to different sheets, but how to copy the data? So how do I copy? I don't know. If I look at the Ajinka, I have 34, 33 rows. If I look at Amit, I have 33 rows. Somebody had some different number of rows, right? So let's look at that one. So 35 here, almost if you look at Rupali, data is 43. That means the data is not stagnant, right? It is not static data. So let me record this as well. I don't want to write a code. I want to go to the second row here, go right, come down and copy and go to the developer tab and stop the macro. That means now I know how to copy the data. So let me go to module, this one, and copy this. Now what I'm doing is again trying to steal my own code. Where is my actual macro? Let me go to module. This is deleting. Okay, so this is where the sheet is getting activated. After the activating the sheet, you want to copy the data. How you want to copy? You want to select the A2 cell. You want to go to the right. You want to go to the down. And why you want a selection? We can simply directly, instead of saying select, you can say copy here. So that's how I easily am able to copy the data. But once you copy the data, where you want to dump it? So let's see practically again. I want to go to the very first sheet. I'm in the consolidation sheet now. I want to go to Ajinka sheet. I want to go right. I want to come down, copy the data because I don't know the size because it's 33. In some other case, it's 35. In some other case, 36. Some other case, 45. So the sizes keep changing, the number of rows, I mean. So obviously, we need to find exactly the bottom and the right. Go to the consolidation, paste from here. From the row 2, you want to paste. After the pasting the row 2, I want to find the next blank cell in order to paste Amit data because Amit data I'm not supposed to paste exactly from here. Rather, I want to paste from here, right? So that's how it should be. Now I'm removing the uh, consolidation sheet because I want this to be happen along with the code. Now, having observed this one, so far we are successful, but still there is a problem here. The thing is, let me run this so far you can understand what is happening. Okay, I'm running this. First, I'm creating a new sheet. I'm giving a name called consolidation. Then I'm trying to create a column name called date, region, representative name, item name, then unit cost. Then I'm trying to selecting the color of it, then making it font color white. It's written so many lines, but you can write in a single line. Selection dot interior equal to what color? That's it. Oh, then I'm making a little bit zoom. Then I'm making further zoom. Then I'm making it, selecting it. I'm making it bold. Then I'm selecting A2. After that, I'm going to a sheet. I'm going to the A2 sheet. See, even if it is a blank sheet, it is trying to go right and go down. It is copying, right? So we are not supposed to go to every sheet. We need to find only those sheets which are really required. In this sheet, I intentionally created a blank sheet here to show you, even if the data is not there, it is trying to capture. So that means you need to first, before running this program, we need to ensure that we don't have unwanted sheets. Then we need to ignore. Now let me run it again. We have already a consolidation sheet. All right. So let me run again. I created a new sheet, consolidation, create a date, region, item, unit, cost, then color, then make it red, white, bold, then zoom, down, bold. Okay, now I'm going to a sheet activate. That is, I'm going to the first sheet. First, we need to ask ourselves a question. Is this a proper sheet to consolidate? Actually, we don't have any data here, but still it is going here and trying to copy something. So we need to avoid main sheet. We need to avoid data sheet. We need to avoid the rep sheet. Okay, rep is anyway not required, but we can delete it further. But this main and data sheet, I don't want to be consolidated because this is not the important sheets for me. I want the entire consolidation to be done here based on the rest of the sheet. So what I'm going to say is the way you have said earlier by using if conditions, if sst dot name not equal to that is main sheet, and sst dot name not equal to your next one data, then what you want to do, if these sheets are, if you encounter these kind of sheets, leave them alone, and rest of the sheets please get me the data. That is what you are trying to tell here. Okay, let me see what how it works. Still the job is incomplete because I'm not telling where to paste. Okay, let me start figuring out whether it is going to the right sheets or not. Okay, I went to the first sheet called consolidate sheet. Then I'm trying to give a proper information here. Then I'm selecting it, then giving a color to it and selecting it, then making zoom. Then after that, I'm going to the first sheet. I'm checking, is it a main sheet? Okay, avoid it. That's how the if condition came out without looking at these lines. Now, next I'm checking, is it a data sheet? Okay, come out, don't do anything there. Now, is it a next sheet is consolidation sheet? So it is trying to capture even the consolidation sheet. So I need to stop that also. I don't want to go to the consolidate because there is nothing to consolidate here. I want the data to come from outer. So that means and sst dot name not equal to, you can use as many as conditions here. I use 3 conditions. So that means I don't want to touch these 3 sheets whenever I'm trying to consolidate. So delete it again. Let me go back, run this. I'm running again and again so that you can understand what is really happening here. I created a new sheet, did whatever the formattings I need. Then I'm trying to go to the respective sheet. Is it a main sheet? Ignore it. Is it a data sheet? Ignore it. Is it a consolidation sheet? Ignore it. So I'm trying to ignore all those sheets because the first target is Ajinka here and the last target is Firoz. So that means all the sheets I want to navigate, but now I want to avoid these 3 sheets because there is nothing to get the data. I don't have the proper information here. I have the information from here. So the actual sheet, it is going to Ajinka. From here, the code is started working. So it is avoiding all these 3 sheets and it is going to the second row, going to the right, coming down. After that, where to go? I've not given the instructions. So that means you need to tell, after copying the data, can you go to sheets dot the consolidation sheet what you created, the consolidation sheet what you have created. So let me copy this instead of doing errors. This is your sheet. That means after you are able to move to the different sheets, you are able to copy the data, but finally you want to paste somewhere else. That means you have selected it. After selecting it, where do you want to paste? That is range. From A2 you want to paste, because A1 is already captured by the column names, right? So paste special. Okay, my job is done. Simple, asking questions and getting the answers here. So consolidation sheet should be created by the macro. I don't want to create. So try to observe both the windows now to have a better understanding. I'm going to the sheet, creating it, coloring it, formatting it. After everything is over, I'm zooming it just like that for fun, making it bold. After that, I'm just ignoring the main sheet. I'm ignoring the data sheet. I'm ignoring the consolidated sheet. I am going to the next sheet, important sheet, that is Ajinka. I'm going to the row, copying it, coming back to consolidation and pasting from the A2. Okay, fantastic. It's worked. Now let's go to the next sheet. Is it a main sheet? No. Then it's going to the Amit sheet, going and copying the data and coming back to the consolidation and pasting where? Again in the A2. So that means in the consolidation data, Ajinka data was overwritten with the Amit data, which is wrong. Which is wrong. That means you need to find out the blank row and you need to start pasting the information from there. So that is how it should be, right? So this is completely wrong. What I've done, I need to find the last row. So how to find the last row? Let's see. I stop the macro in the consolidation data before I paste. Okay, after pasting the data, first time you'll be pasting in the A2 only, right? First time you are pasting in the A2. If it is a manually you're doing, like you are pasting in the A2. But here I don't know where to paste. I want to find out what is the last row. How do I find the last row? Let's assume we have. Let's assume in the consolidation sheet, I want to have a last row range A. Then we have something called rows dot count. That is what we have written earlier. Dot end of Excel up dot row. So let's see if this really gives us the end row in that color sheet. Now I'm running again to see again and again, is there any errors here? I'm running it, I created, I zoomed it, I font is increased, then I avoided all the sheets which is not required. Now I'm coming here, copying the data, going to the consolidation sheet. I'm trying to find the last row here. Why I'm finding the last row? Because whichever the last row, please place the data there. So now I just, for testing purpose, I'm trying to see last row is showing as 1. But last row is 1, but it's you will be pasting here only. 1 means it's pasting here. So let us try to increase the row. Whichever the last row, this is my last row here. So it is telling your first row is itself is the last row. So I want to jump to the next cell to paste my data. So that means, can I say something like +1 here? Whatever your row is there, can you just move to the next row and paste my data? That is what I'm saying. So once I move to the next row, here comes the real magic. I'm going to say range A. I'm going to say A at the rate I dot paste special. It's not at the rate, actually it should be a L row, because your L row is holding the exact number. If I say A1, let me write this way, A2. Okay, I'm pasting from A2, but every time it's not going to be the A2. I need to find the blank row. Next time it is 17 or 18. I don't know. So I'm just depending upon the L row to copy and paste the data. Let's see how it works now. Now I need to remove all again the consolidation. Now I'm going back. I'm just going very slowly to see how it is working. It's formatting. Let's ignore this formatting. It's working fine. Now it's going, avoiding main sheet, avoiding data sheet, avoiding a consolidation, directly jumping onto the Ajinka sheet, copying the data, trying to understand what is my last row. Last row was 1. Last row was 1. Now it is showing as 2, just because you have given a +1 here. Just because you are given a +1, now it understood whatever the last row is there, I need to move to the next row and paste the data. So let me paste. Okay, it's pasted. Let me go back again. Going to the Amit the data. Let me show you this way. Yeah, I'm going to the Amit data, copying the data, going back to the consolidation. Now where should I paste? When I go for L row, it is showing as 34. Is it 34 now? 33. So 33, actually if I paste directly at the 33, it is incorrect because Ajinka is losing one row there. So I need to paste my data at exactly 34. That's why I've given +1 there. So let me see if it pastes. Excellent. Amit, data is pasted from 34, not from 33, because L3 is actually 33, but I've given intentionally +1, so to extend my blank row. Now let me go back to next one. Copied this time last row. You going back, and this time the 65 is the row, but it will show as 66 because I want to paste from the last row. Now this time I got Arun. So I cannot paste, I cannot run this code like this. I want to do it in a simple fashion. I want to run the code. Okay. Now my testing is really, really successful. This is how I keep testing for one or two people again and again. SHEPS shapes. Okay. I've taken something like this. You can take anything for that matter. Assign macro, delete sheet, consolidation. Yeah, consolidation. Once I say okay, what this guy is going to do is now, when I click on this, it will create a brand new sheet called consolidation, and it will consult all the data from Ajinka to Firoz Khan. That's it. Once I click on this, let me give a nice message box here so that I can understand, yes, the job is really completed. Consolidation is now completed. Please check whatever the information you want to give to the end user. That's it. VB information as an icon. That's it. Now I'm saving this and I'm running it. Within no time, you'll see apart from main and data, there will be a uh, brand new sheet called consolidation with a proper headings with a proper data. Let's see. Now you can see the Excel file is flickering. Okay, this is what I want to stop by using application dot display alerts, application dot enables events, application dot screen updating. So it is trying to show you what it is doing. See, you can see it is moving to one sheet to another sheet, coming back, pasting it. By this, what happens is it will take a lot of time to do the job. So you can make much faster by using that applications one. Let's see. So now the job is completed so very quick. Let me go for the first person, Ajinka. Last person should be Firoz Khan, and I got 55,000 rows, guys, from all the sheets. What if I have a 1 million? Same case. So I'm deleting it again just to see how much time it is taking. I want to do some kind of research here, what kind of time it can take. I have this message box already. I'm just copying it and pasting in the last. Okay, I'm just using the same stuff as you already seen how to check the time of completion. Here I used a start time as this. I'm going back to my module. I'm stealing my own code, which I've just created. So starting up the time, what is the time? What is the ending time in order to do this job for my macro? Let's see. It should show me the exact time to consolidate data. I've deleted my consolidated sheet now. Just click on this. It is flickering now. You can see that sheets are moving here and there. By that, what happens is your system start taking a lot of memory from your system. So let's stop doing that. I'll show you the difference. If I run this, how much time is taking. If I put those conditions, application.display alerts and enable events, how my macro can work faster than this. You can see flickering, still flickering because I've not used those commands. I'll show you now. All right, it has taken 27 seconds. It's still good actually. I don't want to reduce, but still see by using those commands what will happen. Okay, I'm deleting it. I'm going back to Alt F11. So what I want to do is I'll write it manually again so that you can understand what is happening. Application dot display alerts equal to false. Application. Then we need to use, there's no sequence here. We can use anyway. Enable events equal to false. Then I want to use application dot display alerts, that is not screen updating rather, equal to false. Then application equal dot calculation also I want to stop because it will kill a lot of time. Calculation equal to Excel manual. Now I'm copying this entire thing stuff. I'm going down before or after your message box. Put this message again and get back to your old style of settings what we had earlier. That is true. That is again true here. And this is not manual because I made it manual, so I need to make it automatic. Yeah, that's it. Now, once this is done, let's see the difference now. Your system is not going to, your application is not going to flicker. It is not going to show you what it is doing. Silently, it will do the job, and finally, it will run faster than what we have done earlier. Now I'm running again. It's not flickering. My system is not moving here and there, and it's doing the job very silently. I can see in 3 seconds, guys. Earlier it was 15 seconds. Earlier it was 15 seconds, now in 3 seconds. So that's the difference. The consolidation is ready for you right from the second row to 54,000, 55,000 till Firoz Khan.